Hey team, hey, time to update everything, time to get ready. We're in steady state, we're in growth mode, we're in total expansion mode, and most people don't know it. So let's update how our cycle plan works and the importance of it for everyone. And so you know what you have in your hands as you're building, or those of you that's been here for a while, what you have in your hand and how it works and how you can optimize your check by understanding the cycle plan and how it works. Okay, let me share our little screen here and get us a business hub up because see, the business hub is what we want. Now, the business hub uh, is where your score is. And so, I got the main important things, and you go to your account, you scroll down, you click on business hub, and you're going to see these blocks. And it has your left team, your right team, your points, and those links. They have links there in those points, and it tells how many people in the first week, the first, the eighth, the 15th, the 21st, and the 26th or buying a subscription, either 7K Pro or one of our four autosaver options, okay, of collectibles. So uh, that's how we accumulate points. That's how we build a residual. And then we have the active members on our left side, our active members on the right. That's personally sponsored members. How many are active? Because you have to have them for your qualification to earn a check. You have to have at least one left and at least one right. If you have a business family pack, hey, you got that. They may not be active, but you can make them active when you want, and that's going to be important. I'll be referencing that. Then you have the growth factor. That's how many people in your personally sponsored group, your PEG, uh, you sponsor a person, they sponsor a person, they sponsor a person. Of somebody that puts a person underneath you, you're going to get the points, but it doesn't count as growth factor. Okay. So it's your organization, what you brought to the table through your personal enrollment group from one generation to the next generation to the next to infinity. Okay. That's cool. But if you get what we call uh, spillover points, that means somebody above you plays somebody underneath you where you're going to capture those points too, and you can earn commission on them. That's cool. That is great. But you got to have the growth factor sometimes as you rank up to get it. Now, another thing is new customer bonus. So when you personally enroll someone in that commission week, one, two, three, it doesn't matter how many you enroll, it'll go from unlocked, where it says unlocked, no, it'll change to a yes. And that means you get to carry over points. Okay. Instead of going to loyalty points or flushing, you will carry over points. So let's get started here. Let's let me let me try and get where I can. Oh, heck. I'd put this over here. You know what I'm doing? Put that up top. There you go. Now I can do this sucker. Okay. Let's get started with pin. Okay. So, uh, got it? Cool. So, everybody starts with 0, 0, 0, 0. It'll look like that. Oh, uh, try and get this thing done right. That's how everybody starts, with a no down there. And of course, your anticipated earnings, they'll tell you what your check's going to be. And then you need to determine what you need to do to change it. Okay. So let's do some starting here. Okay. Let me let me erase some things. And let's go ahead and get started. And let's say that you sponsor a person. And let's say you're on somebody's right side. Okay. So your spillover is going to be right. You won't have any spillover on the left. And so let's say you sponsor your first person. Okay. And you'll have one growth. Got to figure out how this thing will let me continue writing. There we go. Just for here. One growth factor, you have 0, 0. And let's say they came in with a legacy. You have 150 points. Okay. So let's say you got some spillover during the week. And let's say you had spillover and you had 320 points in spillover. And so here we are coming to the end of the week. You will also have uh, a yes here. It'll be yes because you enroll somebody. So it means if you earn a commission check, you're eligible to roll over for what you are eligible to be paid on, but didn't get paid on. Okay. Now, right now, you're not eligible to make a check. Also, notice right here that there is a link for your one-page share plan with a little chart that'll tell you what you get paid on. You click on that link and it'll come up in a PDF on another tab, or on your device, it'll open up in a separate page and you can go back to your business hub. Okay, so now we know our tools. If you click on active member link, it'll come up and it'll show you that person's name, username, and they're active. Okay, that's important to know. You click on growth factor to tell you where the growth factor came from. Okay, and its date, because they stay for 4 weeks. It's a rolling 4-week growth factor in your business growing. Okay, so here comes the end of the week. You're not eligible to make a check. Number one, because you don't have enough points to earn even a $250 check, nor do you have an active on your left and an active on your right. So let's go to the next week. And let's say this person that you enrolled 2 people with legacies. That's 300 points. So now you have 450 points. What else do you have? You have 2 growth factors because you enroll that person, they enroll that person. So now you have, and this changes, that's unlocked now because you're in the second week. Your points roll over. They didn't go away, but it had nothing to do with that. They roll over if they're less than a cycle. So they will roll over. That's the beauty of this comp plan. Okay. And so now you have 3 growth factors, and you're coming toward the end of the week. You could earn a $250 check, but you would need to have 1 growth factor on the right to earn a $250 check. Well, you could if you didn't have your business family pack already. If you had it, well, you could make that active with 7K Pro with a process now. You'd pay $65, basically $59 and plus the tax, so about $65. and you'd get a $250 check if that's what you wanted to do, and you'd have one active there. That's possible. I would say let her roll, okay, because you want to get this up. If you didn't have your business family pack that where it was inactive on the right and it was just your membership, well, you could start your business family pack and enroll your spouse, put it on your right with a basic, but that's going to cost you $165, but you get a $250 check. That could be a free way to start your business family pack paid by your commission. You follow that? Okay, that's cool. Okay, let's just let her ride. Let's see what we're going to do. Okay. And I'm going to take a couple of examples though. Uh, let's say you did have an active. So let's look at this case. We'll come back and look at the other case later. Okay. Let's say you actually had one active here. You actually had one growth factor here. Now what would happen? Now it would say you are eligible to earn a $250 check. Okay. Now you don't have 500 points. So if they paid you a $250 check under this scenario where you have nothing unlocked, you would then get what would happen is they would take 250 points away from this and make this 200 points balance. They'd pay you a $250 check. And then they would take all 320 points and turn it to zero. But what happened to the points between 250 and 70? Well, you're eligible to earn a $500 check. So those points will go to loyalty points. So now we're going to put another little box over here. We're going to call this loyalty points. And so the difference between that is 70. And so you'd have $250. The 70 would go to loyalty points. You start the next week with 200 and 0. Okay? So let's take the scenario that you had rollover. Let's take the case that you have rollover. It says, yes, you enroll one person. That's part of what happened here. And now you got one left, one right. You're eligible to earn a $500 check. In this scenario, instead of getting loyalty points, you're going to get a rollover of 70 points in your commission. So it's going to stay. So you're eligible. Now it's going to roll over for you. Okay. So we handled this $250 check as we're building, as you're growing. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is go back to our case that we had. We're going to not get our $250 check. We're going to let that roll. Okay. So that's 0 and 0. And now we're going to build our business. This business is growing still. And let's say you enroll someone now and you did another legacy, and that 150 points is going to add here. 150 of those 300, that'll make 470 points. And guess what? You just got a growth factor. Okay. New person you enroll. Okay. You got 450 and 5. Let's say these people, the 3 new people, they enroll people this week. Okay. And now let's say you have, let's just put some numbers in. Okay. You have 650 points. Okay. Your growth factor went changed to 5. And then some of these people, some of the spillover people enrolled some people, and you now have 570. Okay. In this case, you got one on your left and one on your right. You're eligible for a $500 check. It's going to say you're eligible for $500 right down here in your eligible check. It's going to tell you that. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of some cases here in this instance, and let's see what happens. Okay. And with points, because it may change. But notice your growth factor didn't change over here, but you're still eligible with one growth factor and one growth factor to make $1,000 check, like a copper. Okay. But for an associate, you don't have to have any growth factor to get a $250 check or $500 growth check. So that's pretty cool. That gives you the chance to lay a foundation and build a foundation over time. This is why this was one of the greatest compensation plans I've ever seen in this referral marketing industry. There is no easier and better compensation plan. If you do the success principles we teach you, I teach, hang around the flagpole, keep doing this, keep learning, keep two years to learn minimum, 3 to 5 years to build a big business. And what you're doing is laying a foundation, a network that will duplicate. And if you do those things too, they'll duplicate what you do if you're staying in contact with them. And if they're plugged in, hanging around the flagpole, making a weekly meeting, making a weekly training. If you've been in for 2 years and you stop doing that, then you're the reason you're failing. No one else. Because you quit learning. You quit learning how to. You said, well, that's not for me. Well, no, success is for everyone. Okay, so now let's get paid. What happens if it ends this way and you had a rollover? Okay, you had a rollover of points. Well, you don't get any rollover because the most you can make is $500. So it doesn't matter if this is yes or no in this instance. What's going to happen is you're going to get a $500 check. And that's going to go to 0. And they're going to subtract 500 points from this, and you're going to end up with 150 points. And you're going to have no loyalty points. That's how that happens. Okay. Because you were only an associate, one active left, one active right. You can't earn more. If you'd had 2 actives left, 2 active rights, because you had a growth factor of more than one, yay, you would have had. So let's do this scenario. While we're here, I'm trying to show you what happens in different cases. Okay. If you had two actives here, because your growth factor is greater than 1 on each side, this would have happened. You would have had 500 points taken away, 150. You would have had 570 points taken away, but those 70 points would have went to loyalty points. They wouldn't have flushed, as we say, because you're qualified to make $1,000 check. But it didn't quite cycle up to get a $5,000 check because you need 500 cycles. Anything above 500 cycle, there are no $250 checks after 500. There are only 500 cycles. Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. So this is the case if you would have had 2 and 2. Okay, and if you'd had yes here, well, you wouldn't have got loyalty points. You would have got 70 carryover because you're qualified to make $1,000 check. Okay, so look, if the scenarios I go through you really don't catch, this is why I make this video. You can watch it over and over again and catch the nuances that I'm talking about. If then this, if then that. Okay, so let's get our next example going. So I'm gonna just put in some numbers now and say this is 780 and this is 480 and this is 0. So what happens when you have this scenario or you have something over 250? Okay, if you have something over 250 on the pay side, this be the pay side, the smallest side is your pay side, the biggest side is your bank side. I coined those words way back 9 years ago when we started in explaining the comp plan. Okay, in this comp plan scenario, what a bank side is and what a pay side is for explaining the comp plan. Okay, so now you know where they came from. So in this instance, right here, what would you do? It's Saturday. You don't have an active. You're not even going to get a $250 check. And you could let this roll over to the next week. That's one thing you could do. The other thing you could do is if you don't have your business family pack, then I would encourage you to get your basic to enroll your spouse, your son, your daughter, give them if it's somebody else, but you pay basically $165, the 149 plus the tax or whatever, about $165 is what I say. And you get your active, you'll get 20 points, you'll get $40 in gold deposited into that sound money account. Yeah, you'll have 2 sound money accounts and you want to, okay? You want one for you, you want one for your spouse, okay? In this instance, you will spend $165. You will get 20 points posted on the right side, you'll have 500 points. You will get one active here. You'll have another growth factor because you did that, added to your growth factor. And now they will say you're, instead of having 0 here, you'll have 500 here. As soon as you do that and place it on your right, that spousal basic account, it's going to have the 500 show up, but it have to refresh. So you'll have to go out of the business hub to your dashboard, come back to your business hub, and it'll show you the numbers. So you basically have to refresh it. Okay. The hub. But so the posting is instant, but you are on a different cycle on looking at your business hub. So you have to go out, come back in, and it'll be there. Okay. Because I've had people call me and say, I just did this and it still says the same thing, but it didn't go out and come back in. Okay. As soon as they went out and come back in, it showed up. But okay, so what happens here? You spent $165, but you get a $500 check, and basically you use commission to pay for that business family pack spousal account. Okay. So you come out $335 positive cash flow in your hands and another free account. So what happens? They will pay you the $500 check. That account goes to 0. This account goes to 280. And that's how you start your next week. 280 and 0. That's how you start your counter. Okay. Now, let's take the situation where we have these same numbers. You have an active and 2. Okay. Let's take, that's what our numbers are, 780 and 480. It's Saturday night, midnight. You have a node down here, and this now is going to read 250. So what's going to happen if you let this go just like this? Well, if you let it go just like this, you'll get a $250 check. Your counter will read, you have a no here. You're eligible for 500. Your counter will read 0. Your counter over here would read 250 less 780 would be 530. So you got enough to make a $500 check on a bank side. What happened to those 230 points? That's almost a $250 check, everybody. Well, they're going to go to loyalty because you're eligible to earn a $500 check, but you didn't. So they're going to go to loyalty. You got a $250 check and 230 points. Now I'm going to show you something better to do than that. Okay? There are times you're going to let something above 250 go to loyalty points. You got 300 points. That'd be 50 points going to loyalty. You got 350. Well, that's 100 points going to loyalty. You may want to do that. But when you get up to 470, 480, 490, 495, any of these numbers here, you're going to want to take a look at doing this. Of course, if you we already went over the scenario with this situation. If you don't have a business family pack, that. Well, let's say you have a business family pack, but it's inactive. It's not active. Well, you can activate that account by getting a 20-point autosaver processed now. That 20-point autosaver, the beauties of the world, will cost you about $150. But you got a coin in your hand worth something. Okay. So you're really not spending a full $150. You're trading $150 for a coin, but you get 20 points. So now you read 500. This now will read 500. And now you get a $500 check. Let me erase some things so it makes it clear. That won't have any loyalty points. So you get a $500 check instead. So you come out $350 ahead, plus a Beauties of the World coin in your hands, or you can store it in the stack and sell vault. Okay, if you paid your little fees to store so many coins in the stack and sell vault. That's the better thing to do to build wealth. See, we're here to build wealth. You're building wealth by getting assets and earning extra income. Well, in this case, they're going to subtract now 500 points here. Okay. You'll have 0. They'll subtract the same. So that's how you start the next week. And you have a Beauties of the World coin. You spend this, you get this. Okay. Okay. We did that scenario. Let's do another scenario. Okay. Okay. Let's get on up. Let's start building your business. I went through your business building until you get to a regular where you're making a $500 check at least once a month or twice a month or a couple of $250 checks in multiple weeks in a month. You know, you're still building your organization. You're still in that building mode, and you'll keep doing the same thing, and you keep trying to optimize your check the whole time until you have your business family pack. If you didn't start with one or you don't have one, you will always end up with one, just like the scenario I showed you. I mean, you want to take advantage of that, okay? And get control of your business so when it's inactive, you don't have to buy a coin on it every month, but you'll buy a coin when you need it, okay? And so let's get to a couple of examples like that, okay? And let's say you got 3,040, 400 points on your bank side. You got 2 actives, you got some growth factor, and on your pay side, you have 490 points. And you have no actives. So what do we do? You got growth factor. Man, you got growth factor. You're eligible with that growth factor to make $2,000 a week if you got the points, if you got the actives. See, it's just actives and points. If you got the growth factor, you're going to, as you're building, you will have enough growth factor. But remember, for a $250 check or a $500 check, you need zero growth factor on both sides. So it doesn't matter what your growth factor is. Okay. As you sponsor people, you're going to get, as they sponsor people, you're going to get growth factor. It's just spillover, you don't get growth factor. Okay. So let's say this is it. What do you do? Well, we just went through that scenario. If you don't have your business family pack, you spend $165, get a spousal account, okay, and you'll add 20 points to it and make 510 points. You'll have one growth factor active. You'll have not, you'll add a growth factor, so your growth factor will go to 3 if it's 2. And now it's going to tell you that you can make a $500 check because you got an active. You enrolled that spousal account. Well, let's take the case you already got your you already have your you already have your spousal account. You just don't have an active. Well, you personally sponsored that business family pack spousal account. So now you just do a minus $65 for a 7K Pro. That's if you don't want to build wealth, you want to minimize, you want to, take the I call it the cheapest way out. That's just no other way to say it. I'd rather you buy a coin, okay, or one of the Holman gold notes. I'd rather you have an asset that you're building wealth and you're earning extra income, positive cash flow. But let's say you do it this way, you're going to get 15 points, okay, and you now have an active because you made it active yourself. You're in control. See, that's what a control center is all about. Now you're going to get a $500 check, and your thing will say no because you just made an account active. You didn't enroll one. Okay. Had you enroll one and you, like we did before, though any points above 500 would roll over because you got enough growth factor to get a $2,000 check here. So anytime your growth factor is greater than 0, 1 and 1, and it's got to be the the lowest number control. So if you have a growth factor of 0, you can make a $500 check on both sides. If you have a growth factor of 1 or more, minimum 1 on both sides, you can earn a $1,000 check. So that's when you have rollover in commission, okay, if you got a yes down here, okay. If you got a no, then they go to loyalty points. Just a point of clarification. Here, in this case, if we do this and we make that spousal account active with a pro, well, you get a $500 check. And your 7K Pro is active in that account. Well, your 7K Pro, if you're on an auto saver or 7K Pro in your own account, your 7K Advantage is already active. Okay. You get it with any of the autosaver subscriptions. Now, if you do the other and you spend, let's say you get the American Eagle coin, okay, then you're spending about $130. You still get the $500, but you get the American Silver Eagle one, or the Holman note, either one. Their 15 points also would do this in your hands. Okay. So we've covered those scenarios. Let's get some more numbers here, see what happens. And let's just start building up our bank side. You got 8,000. And let's say you have 950. Okay. On your pay side, 8,400 on your bank side. You got one active on your right, two actives on your left. You got a lot of growth factor. Okay. You're eligible to make with the growth factor because of the two, like uh, 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 a bronze. You're able to earn up to $2,000 in 1 week if you got the points. You don't, but you got enough points that you could earn $1,000 check. So let's say your thing says no, okay, and let's go through this scenario and see what you get paid. You're going to get paid a $500 check, okay. You're eligible to get up to 2,000. So your counter now will read 0. You'll get a $500 check. And this side will deduct 500 points, be 7,900. No. And you get 450 points in loyalty. That's one way. Now, if you enrolled a basic, it wouldn't give you enough points to change this matter, but it would do something else for you instead. Okay. Now, here's the key. You got the loyalty points because you were eligible to make the check. Okay. Since they paid your loyalty points, they're also going to deduct it over here. So you're going to have 450 points less here. So it's not going to read 79. It's going to read 78. I'm sorry. 74 for 50. Because it's going to deduct all 950 points because they paid you 500 and put 440 in loyalty points. Okay. Now, let's take another scenario though. Okay. Let's take the same numbers and let's look at what the difference is with this. Let's say now you have a yes here. Now, how could you have a yes here? Well, if you already got one active, you'd have to enroll somebody to get a yes. Now, it could be on either side. It doesn't matter where you enroll a person. But if you enroll a person, you'd certainly enroll them on the right side. So even if you enroll a basic, Basic's going to cost you what? $165. You could do a blessing to somebody and and give them an account, but they have a sound money wallet. They're going to get gold. Just try it out. Just learn about gold and silver. Maybe you've been talking to them. Maybe it's a friend. They keep saying no, they don't look. You say, okay, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for your account. Now you get a tax deduction on it. It's called a promotional account. You're promoting you're you're promoting the business building. You're trying to show them how it works. So that'd be a tax deduction. Well, your counter is going to read 970 instead of 950, and you're going to have 2, and your growth factor will be 3 in this instance. You're still eligible for a $500 check, but you're going to get a $500 check, but you're eligible to earn a $2,000 check. So you're going to get credit for all of this. Here's what happens. This is the beauty of this one. They're going to subtract 500 from here and 470 roll over to the next week. Start your account. They subtract 500 here, and that's 7,900 here on your bank side. And this is how you start your next week. Notice you already have a $250 check to start the next week. So really, you're getting a $750 and you paid $165. A lot of people, I see so many people overlooking this. And you have a chance to get somebody, even a skeptic, they're getting $40 of free gold. They're getting a free sound money account. It's basic, but at least they can start buying and seeing this stuff works. They can buy $1 a week, $5 a week, try it out, learn about gold and silver. That's a real blessing to somebody. And you get a tax deduction, and look how you have gained wealth, and you got another new member that they may not catch on for a year or 2 years, but they got their membership, and now you can follow up with them. Don't make a pest out of yourself, but follow up with them. This is the best situation to do. Okay. Now, let's take another situation. We're going to use some of the same numbers. Okay. And okay, here's how we start off this week. You're eligible to earn a $2,000 check. You got 2 actives left, 2 actives right. You got more than 2. No, you're eligible to earn a $1,000 check. Please let me correct myself. You're not. You have to have 3 left and 3 right, and 2 growth factor or more on each side to earn that. That's where you click on this link and you see your share plan with your table that tells you what you got to have in these blocks, okay, to get a check, okay? So you're eligible to earn a $1,000 check here because with 0 growth factor, you're eligible for 500. With 1 growth factor, you're eligible to earn 1,000. With 2 growth factor, yeah, you're eligible to earn $2,000. Yes, yeah, you are. So I had it right. 2 growth factor. Okay. But with 2 growth factor, You must have 3 left and 3 right, kind of like at the bronze level, to get that $2,000 check. So growth factor is one thing, but you got to have both. Okay. So you're only eligible here to earn $1,000 check. Okay. You got your 2 and 2, and you got more than one growth factor on each side. So you're okay. So you're able to earn a $2,000, $1,000 check, and but you're going to get a 500 because of what we have. It tells you, but it doesn't tell you what you need to do, and that's what I'm doing right now. And in this case, what you need to do is either make yourself active with 7K Pro or make one of your accounts, your spousal account, one of your accounts on your pay side active, or help somebody in your organization. Let's say somebody's struggling. Help make them active with a 7K Pro. Keep their point. Look at the people who are losing points. Okay. And you reach out to them and say, hey, look, I'm going to pay for your 7K Pro for you to keep all your points, keep your loyalty point. Because when you lose your commission points, you lose your loyalty point bank too. And most people don't know that. And those loyalty points are very valuable to get not only free coins, but they can help pay for other things. You'd have to talk to support. Okay. They can help pay for upgrades, for example, going from a basic to a legacy VIP. Yeah. Yeah. They do that. You have to but you have to have enough loyalty points. Okay. Let's take this scenario. What do we do? This should be really obvious, and I just did it. The best thing is to help people. We're people helping people. But you may not have time on Saturday night. You may have waited until midnight or close to midnight. You got to do it before midnight Mountain Standard Time, not not Hawaii time, not West Coast time, Pacific time, because you're late then. You missed the boat. Okay, so you got to do it midnight Mountain Standard Time. It has to happen before midnight and has to post. Okay, so you're out what? $65. This changes to 1,005. Actives don't change unless you made somebody active, so you'd have another active member for 34 more days. That helps you too, because that's in your PEG group. Okay. Well, it's if you personally sponsored them. If it's somebody outside of your personal sponsor, they won't count here. Okay. So now you got 1,005. As soon as you do that, guess what happens? They say you're going to get $1,000 check. Okay. Now, if this reads yes, right here, here's what happens. Let's say it reads yes. Your new customer bonus. You enroll somebody new that week. Okay. Well, you're going to get $1,000 check. They're going to erase 1,000, but 5 points will roll over to start the next week because you're eligible to earn a $2,000 check. Nope, you're not. You had to enroll 3 left and 3 right. See? Okay. So we're having a little fun every once in a while, but so that will go to 0. If you were eligible and you had a rollover, that will go to 0. So it didn't matter about this. Okay. But, and you don't get loyalty points because you're only eligible to earn $1,000 check. And then they're going to subtract 1,000 from this, 7,400 on this side. Okay. And you spent $65. and you made an extra $500 because we showed you if you had yes, it would have rolled over. You wouldn't needed to do that. But if it says no, you need to do what I just did. Okay. So let me go back over that one more time for you. Okay. So you understand what I just said. Let's say this is 990 and this says yes down here. Okay. If that says yes down here, if that says yes down here, what do? We don't have to do anything. You're going to get a $500 check. Let me show you what I mean. You're going to get a $500 check because that says yes. They're going to subtract 500, 490 is going to roll over to the next week. You don't have to spend anything. You already know you're going to get a $250 check next week. So you didn't have to do anything. And they subtract 500 over here. And that's the beauty of having a yes. But you'd have had to enroll someone. You personally had to enroll. Either side, it doesn't matter, but you had to enroll someone. Okay. So we hit that scenario, got all those cases done. Let's do a few more, couple more, so we know how this stuff works. Okay, let's kind of build up a little bit. Okay. And let's get up to where let's do one step before this one. Let's kind of help people go from copper to bronze. Okay. And let's say you got 5 over here. You got 5 over here. You got 2 over here. So you got these kind of growth factors that are there. And you have on this side, you have 9,300 points. On this side, you have 1,980. Okay. If we look at this, so it could be 1,480, 1,980, 1,700, any of these numbers, anything, you know, quite a bit above 1,000. 1,100, you may not want to do it, but you'll understand what I'm saying here. So let's say that's our week. Okay. You're engaged, you're trying to rank up. You've been in business for a while. So this is for you too, a little advanced. As you're building, this will become important to you. You'll come back and you can look at this. Okay. And so here you're only eligible right now to make, because you got 3 here, but you got all the growth factor you need. You're only eligible to make $1,000 check. Okay. Because you only have 2 active left and 2 active right. That's like a copper. You need to be a bronze where you have 3 active left, 3 active right, and 2 growth factor or more minimum on the side. Minimum of 2 growth factor or more on each side. That's what a bronze does to make a $2,000 check. So what if you had this scenario? That's why you click on this link here and see your plan to look at and review. And after a while, you'll know it. See, I'm not looking at the one page. Okay. So what do we do in this case? It's Saturday. Now, I want you to be planning ahead for all this stuff so you'll know when you're going to do a promotional account, when you're going to bless somebody with an account, when you're going to bless maybe a child or a friend or a neighbor, somebody you go to church with. You need to have a list of names that you already have their information. We have a notebook with their name, their birthday, their address, their email, their telephone number. We're gaining that information as people we know anyway, and we will gain that information. We keep it in a notebook, and then when we give away an account, see, it's a spiral notebook. I don't know if you see the names there, but they're there. That's what we do. That's what we'll teach you to do. Okay. So what do we do in this case? Okay. Well, we got enough active members on our own. We need one more active, but that's on our bank side. I need points over here. Wrong. You need to optimize your paycheck and build your wealth. Because if you do nothing, and this is how it ends, it's going to tell you this is what your check is. That's what that's going to read. Okay. And if you do nothing, you're going to get $1,000 check. Okay. And here's what happens. You're going to get $1,000 check. If you do nothing, this is going to go to zero. They're going to subtract 1900. We'll see. It'll cycle 3 times. Okay. And so they're going to deduct those points from this side because you could have gotten paid on it. You chose not to get paid by not doing the work that was necessary. So they're going to subtract those 1,980 points from that bank side. Okay. Should have made easy math for me. But that'll be 0. That'll be 2. Headboard, that'll be 3. And that'll be 7. Okay. I think that's about right. 1,980, 10, carry 1, 9, 3, 13, carry 1. Yep, that's it. That's what's going to happen. That's not a good thing. Let me show you why. Spend $165 and get your other business family pack on your bank side, but you didn't get you're more likely to get it on your pay side as you're building if you don't start with it. So now's the time to get it on your bank side. That will change this to 3. Boom, la la. That makes you eligible for a $2,000 check and get paid on points, and you enroll somebody. So this changes to yes. That means carryover. Well, your 20 points comes up. Okay. That adds 20. You also get that $40 in gold. Now, These same things would apply if you give away a promotional account, you pay for a basic account for someone else and you put them in, same thing applies. But that's why you take advantage of getting your own controller. Now you got a control account on each side. You do not have to buy the pro area, the subscription, or just turn it off. Okay. But now you got an account. You're in control of your own financial destiny now for actives. And sometimes, for actives at least. Okay. So now what happens? Well, now it's going to, as soon as you do that, it's going to say you're eligible for a $1,500 check. Just because you sent 165, you're going to get $500 more. And you made another active. Now, it's better if you do enroll somebody real, but this is when nobody's ready to enroll. Nobody that you're working on is ready to pull the trigger. This is what you do. This is business building. This is treating this as a business, as an income, and doing promotional marketing. This is a business. Okay. So now here's what happens. If you do this, here's what happens. They're going to subtract 1,500 out of here. You're going to have 480 points that roll over to the next week because you got a yes here. They're going to subtract 1,500 points from here. On your bank side, they only do 1,500. Those 480 rolled over because you enroll someone. You already got another $250 check the next week. Actually, you got another 500 because you'd buy a 20-point coin if that's how it ended up on Saturday night the next week. So basically, you're going to make, plus your check would have been, so basically by spending $165, you're going to make $2,000 minus 165. Bingo. That's much better than $1,000 and then losing all those points. Bingo. Let me do another thing for you. The same scenario. Okay. Pretty much the same scenario, but it's a different concept. Okay. Okay. Let's say this is what you got, 1,980, 20. You got 2 growth factor here and 3 growth factor here. Okay. 5 growth factor. You got enough sponsored. Okay. I got the wrong growth factor there. Got 1 growth factor there. Okay. This is where you are. Your approach. This is Friday. You're looking at it. Friday. You're looking at it. You sponsored a person. You got a rollover. You sponsored a person, gave you that growth factor. Okay. But this is where you're at. You got 1980 and this. And it's going to say you're eligible to make $1,000 check because you only have 1 growth factor. Okay. You need 2 growth factor to be eligible to make a $2,000 check because you got enough actives. You got more than 3 on each side. 3 or more on each side, and 2 growth factor at least on each side. You only have 1. So what do? In this case, if you can enroll somebody that you're working with, give them a promotional membership. Say, hey, look, I know how good this is. You don't. I want to bless you. I want to pay for your basic. I'm not paying for your legacy. You can do that later if you want, but I want to get you started. I want you to learn about gold. I want you to be able to buy God's money. I want you to have that safety factor. I want you to learn the good things that this company provides for you and me. I'm going to pay for your basic membership. So what do you are? You're out 106. $165. Now you have 2 growth factor. And in this case, guess what happens? This goes to 2,000, right? Yeah, goes to 2,000. You enroll somebody too, another person. So it's still yes. So you got 2 that you enroll. But here's the beauty of this. You pay $165, you get a check of $2,000, because as soon as you do that, this counter is going to say that you got 2,000. See, it won't tell you what to do. It tells you what your check is based on current numbers. So then you need to look and see what you need to do to increase that check with 500 cycle points, with either rolling over points or not rolling over points. So in this case, you don't get any growth factor. They're going to give you a $2,000 check. They will set this to 0. They will set this to 73.20. And that's how it works. Now I want to do one last one for y'all. I want you to really see some of the big pictures here that maybe you don't have all of this. Maybe what you have, I'm going to talk to you why it's worth your while to, like, I've had people stay in for 10 months, didn't make their first check until 10 months after buying their subscription every month, but doing the things that's necessary until they at least learn some basics. You need to hear these testimonies. I've got hundreds of people like that. Okay. So what you have, let's just say you're one of the persons that have, let's say, 5,000 or more. Some of you are going to have 10,000, some of you 15,000, some 20,000, some 30,000, some 80,000, some 100,000, some even more. On your bank side, you got whatever you post. Let's say you've got one active here, no actives here. You got no graph factor here, and you got no growth factor here. Okay. Let's say that's your bank side. And every time you buy a product, your monthly subscription, it posts to your pay side. And so if you're buying a 15-point subscription, after 20 months, 19, 8, 17 months, you're going to have enough to make a check. But you have to have an active on each side. Okay. If you're buying a 20-point coin, after 11, 12 months, you got enough to make a $250 check, your own self. And you get your business family pack, you paid for itself. You pay for your business family pack. But you want to enroll someone. What you're looking for is you got enough to make $500 check, but this side's growing. It's duplicating. It's keeping growing. And so you'll get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. However long it takes you to learn how to do this business is what you need to do to continue, because in this instance, you can have your own business family pack left and right. You can make it active when you need. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a business family. You've enrolled one person. That's all you enroll. They're here. They're buying their coin every month. If you have you buying a coin every month and they buying a coin every month, that's 30 points a month. 9 months, just with you buying a coin and them buying a coin, 9 months of times 30 is 270. See that? That's 9 months. You got one active person. If you wanted this business family pack, and you should, that gives you control, okay, that'd be time to buy. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and get in position. Spend your $165, sponsor your spouse. Gives you an active. And now you have a yes here, because it doesn't matter which side you enroll someone on, you still get rollover. You're eligible to make a $500 check because you don't need any growth factor. And then you will get growth factor because you enroll someone. Okay. So let's just make it look right. Okay. And so now you're going to get, it's going to tell you you're eligible to get a $250 check. It ends that way because that's what you did, and you get a $250 check. Now you've got your spouse an account, a control account that you can make active when you need to. You don't have to buy a product every month on that. You just keep buying the product on your top center, the way I teach a business family pack. Build your business, build your business, build your business, build your foundation. Get some duplication going. Learn how to do this. Make it a real part-time job until it pays you more than your job. Then you can start thinking about, hey, I'm ready. I'm qualified. I want to do this full time. But know what you're doing before you do take that step, that leap. Well, what's going to happen is they will pay you a $250 check. You paid, so your check paid for that business control center for your spouse, and you got $40 gold in the account. That's pretty cool. You're going to end up taking 250 from there, giving you 20-point rollover. Yeah, you get rollover because you had a yes. You'll take 250 points from this side and be 4,750. Okay. And that's where we're at. Now you want to keep going until you get in time. What's going to happen is you're going to get to the point where you're in control of both sides. You have a business family pack here. And let's say when this grows, you got 15,000 points over here, and it keeps growing because you're one of each side's going to keep growing. Okay. And let's just say your person you sponsored no longer active, but you got your business family pack here and here. Okay. And this is what you're facing this pay week. That's what you have. What do you do? you make your business family pack left and right that you're in control of. You spend $65, so it's a minus $130. And guess what you're going to get? Because it would have said zero. Okay. And you spend that, then you make this one active. You make this side one active. Now you get that's going to change when you get those actives. Now you get a $500 check. You spend $130. Hey, you do that every week. You do that every day. That's why you want your business control centers, but you get them when your commission pays for them, unless you start off with them. Now, if you're committed to doing this business, best way is to start off with them, because then you can leverage those centers and make more income in the future after you're making $2,000 a week on your top center. Don't do it before then, because you're diluting your business. Well, this went longer than I wanted to, but one of the things I've got to do, since I'm sharing this account, I talked about income, and y'all know if I talk about income and I've explained how our comp plan works, uh, I've got to go over the business uh, uh, disclosure, the 7K income disclosure. But I like doing that with the income disclosure because we are actually making this kind of money. So, I really wanted to show you in the back office before I did this. I'll come back to the income disclosure statement, but let's end with this. I want to show you actually where to find your your uh, your business fan your you go log into your account. Okay. When you log into your account, you just scroll down. Now, in the phone, you can do it on the hamburger menu, and you'll go to Business Hub, and you're going to see it looks just like I said. It's going to tell you what your bank side is. I never in my life would have thought I would have $8.5 million in my bank side. But these are the links you can click on, and you can see the points coming up every week. Okay. These are where you can see your active members, who they're active, who's not active, who's about to go inactive. So you have the number of actives you need. And I should have refreshed this because it's changing today. You know what? Let let me let's just stay with this. See, it's going to tell me right now that check's there, but this is Saturday. I know we got work to do. Uh, I know we'll probably end up somewhere at 10, 11, 11:05, somewhere around there by the end of the day, because Saturday's a work day. Saturday's the day people get in, people enroll. Uh, but if nothing else happened, that's how I would end up. Now, I'm eligible to earn 12,500. So those 279 points will go to loyalty points. I'm going to lose them. Okay. Or if I wanted to, I could enroll someone because see, mine says, oh, down here, mine's not unlocked. It says no. So they won't roll over to commission points. Okay. So you get to see real time. Okay. And I could show you another one, but I know we went quite a long time. But that's how you learn. If you just smooth over it, you'll never learn the details that you need to know. But people are actually making this kind of money. Uh, And if you would like to make the guy, you would like to have an extra, $250 every quarter. Well, it starts with $250 one time, and then you work to getting $250 two times. Then you work to get $250 three times. You try and get it to be $250 every quarter extra. Then then you step it up $250, every month. Try. You set goals, yeah, but goals would come doing the business the way that I teach, the way the company teaches, how to explain the business, how to peak the business, how to work. Those are tools. But my success system works all the time, anytime, regardless of changes in the company. That's why you want to follow up my 7 pieces of paper in the success system. 2 years to learn, minimum, 3 to 5 years then to build a big bet. Maybe you're not only getting to 500 a week, but that's powerful in this industry. Okay. And here's what you got to do daily in those 10 hours a week for those first 2 years minimum. Then you got to keep it up. You can't just stop doing it. Okay. Until you get to where you're making 2,000 or more a week, then you got another responsibility. But you're building a team on the left and the right, and you help them. That's how you have exponential expansion working for you so that you can duplicate your income. This is why this industry is the greatest industry in the world. You don't have to have thousands of dollars and lots of extra time. You can do it with whatever you're doing, and you can get on the 3-year plan, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, but you got to have your attitude in the right place. And when you develop these 3 beliefs, oh, you're a 7K lifer for sure. That's the 7 pieces of paper. And then it will prepare you to start climbing that income trail. And then you will know what your one piece of paper compensation plan. I want everybody to go and click on that and look at that 1-page comp plan, because it tells you exactly what you need to do to make in this little chart what your blocks that I just trained on, what you need to have. You need to have one left, one right to be eligible to make a $500 check. So you're going to make a $250 or a $500 check, depending on how many points you have. You got to have one growth factor left and right. And I tell you how to get a growth factor if you don't need it, but you need it and you want to get paid that $1,000 instead of just $500. And the same applies to the bronze level where you have 3 left, 3 right, active personal sponsors. So see this little chart? You just compare it to your business hub. You got this comp plan mastered. Okay. And then you can start climbing yourself up on the income scale as we do this. I appreciate you. I love each and every one of you. I hope you achieve the income dreams that you are looking for to fulfill you and your family's need, and your and to be able to pass on a legacy for you and your children's children. Bob Reid, wishing you the best.